Good day, let's do a little pre-algebra finding the midpoint and the midpoint formula. Okay, so here we have a line on our graph, and what the midpoint formula is going to do is tell us where on this line exactly is the halfway point. Okay, where on this line is exactly the halfway point. And to find this halfway point, we're going to use this key. Okay, this is going to be our key to finding the halfway point. Now remember that when you have a point on a graph, when you have a point like, let's say this point or this point, that it's going to be x comma y. In other words, this is the x and this is the y. Okay, so this point here, 4, 5, that means that we have x is 4, so you can see that 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, x is 4, and y is 5, so you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, over 4, up 5. That's the point 4, comma 5. Okay, down here we have this negative 5, negative 2. So here's our x, negative 5, and here's our y, negative 2. So we're going to go to the left 5 and then down 2. So negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. Okay, that's our x, negative 5, and then down 2. Negative 1, negative 2. That's our negative 2. So over 5, down 2. That's negative 5, negative 2. Okay, remember it's x first and then your y. So now you see here in our midpoint formula that we have this x1 plus x2 over 2 and y1 plus y2 over 2. Okay, so it's kind of work like this. You need to pick a point. Okay, this is going to be point 1 and this is going to be point 2. Okay, it doesn't matter. You could make this one point 1 and this one point 2. It doesn't matter which one is number 1 and which one is number 2. You could flip them back and forth. But for this one, let's say this is point number 1. Okay, so this is going to be your x1 and this is your y1. Okay, and down here we have our x2 and y2. Okay, these are our points. Here's x2, here's y2. Here you have x1 and here's y1. Now it doesn't matter, you could switch these, okay? So let's say that you want to make this one point number 1 and this one point number 2. Then you're going to say this is x1, y1. Okay, and up here you're going to have x2 and y2. Okay, it doesn't matter which one you do. You can make this one this point number 2 and this one number 1, or this one number 2 and this one number 1. Okay, so here we have x1 and y1, x2 and y2. We're just going to plug these into our key here, and that will tell us the midpoint. Okay, when we plug these in, it's going to tell us our midpoint. So let's just go ahead and do that. Let's plug these in. So we have this x1 plus x2. Okay, so we see x1 is negative 5 plus x2 is 4. Okay, we're going to divide that by 2. And then we have y1 plus y2. So y1 we have negative 2. y2 we have 5. Okay, over 2. So what do we get here? We get negative 5 plus 4. Negative 5 plus 4 is 1. Negative 1. Okay, negative 5 plus 4 is negative 1 over 2. And then we have this, negative 2 plus 5 over 2. Okay, negative 2 plus 5 is a positive 3 over 2, gives us 3 halves. Okay, so here's our point. Okay, we could kind of put this in 3 over 2. We could say that this is going to be negative 1/2 and 1.5. Okay, 3 over 2 is 1.5. Or we could say that's negative 0.5 and 1.5. Okay, so here's our midpoint, negative 0.5 and 1.5. Okay, negative 0.5, here's our graph. Okay, so here's negative 1, negative 2. So negative 0.5 is here in the middle. Okay, right here in the middle. I'm going to say it's right here, colored in red. We're going to say it's right about here. Okay, and then 1.5, here we have 1.5. So we're going to say 1.5 is here. And where those connect is right here. So we're going to say that's our midpoint right here on this point. Okay, and it's negative 0.5 and 1.5. Okay, remember this is your x, this is your y. X is negative 0.5 and y is 1.5. All right, so here's our next one here that we have, and let's just kind of find what location is this point. Okay, so you're going to count first your x. You're going to count over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 6. So that's your x. So we're going to say 6. And then it's up 1. Okay, so over 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and up 1. So that point is 6, comma 1. Okay, now this point here, we need to count first our x. So we have -1, -2, and then up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to say this point is -2, comma 5. Okay, here's your negative x and -2, positive 5 for the y. Okay, remember these are all your negative x. From here, from 0 to the left is your negative for your x. And from 0 down, these are all your negative y. Okay, from this point to this point is your positive x. And from here, 0 on up is your positive y. Okay, maybe I could write that in. So this is your positive x. This is your negative y. This is your positive y. And this is your negative x. Okay, so when you see this negative number, you know it's this direction. Okay, so -2, 1, 2, up 5. Positive 5. Okay, so to the 2 left and up 5. That's our point, -2, comma 5. So now we need to figure out which one we want to have be point number 1 and point number 2. Okay, let's just say this is point number 1 and this one here will be point number 2. So that means this is x1, y1, and this is x2, y2. Okay, plugging these numbers into our midpoint formula, we have x1 plus x2. Okay, so x1 we see is -2, and x2 we see is 6 over 2. Okay, y1 we see is 5. y2 we see is 1 over 2. Okay, then just doing our simple adding, we have -2 plus 6. -2 plus 6 is 4. 4 divided by 2 gives us 2. Okay, and then 5 plus 1 is 6. 6 over 2 gives us 3. So here's our point. Here's our midpoint, 2, comma 3. Remember, this is your x, this is your y. So that means we're going to go over 2. Okay, starting from 0, over 2, 1, 2, and then up 3, 1, 2, 3. So this point right here, this is our midpoint. And that's point 2, comma 3. Okay, that's our midpoint. That's splitting this line on our graph. Okay, exactly halfway. 2, comma 3. All right, one more example. So here we have our line. First, we need to figure out what these points are. Okay, remember this is your positive x, this is your negative x, and this is your negative y. So this point here, let's go over for our x. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then looks like it's down 3. So over 5, down 3. 1, 2, 3. So we're going to say that this is 5, comma, -3. Okay, remember we're going over 5, positive in the positive x direction, over 5. And then down 3, negative y direction. Okay, so over 5, down 3 gives us 5, comma, -3. Okay, here's our second point here. Let's see, let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So -7, -1. Okay, we're going -7 in the negative x direction. We're going 7 towards the negative x. So that gives us a -7. And then we're going down 1. That's a negative y, down 1. So -7, -1. Okay, these are our 2 points, 5, -3, and -7, -1. Okay, let's call this point number 1 and this point number 2. So that means this is our x1, comma, y1. Okay, and this is our x2, comma, y2. Okay, so plugging these numbers into our midpoint formula, we have x1 plus x2. So x1 we're going to say is 5, plus x2 is -7 over 2. Okay, and y1 it gives us -3, and y2 plus -1 over 2. Okay, simply taking these points and plugging them into our midpoint formula. So here's our x1, 5 plus -7, and -3 plus -1. Okay, so 5 plus negative 7, that gives us negative 2. Okay, 5 plus negative 7, that's negative 2 over 2, gives us negative 1. All right, and then negative 3 minus 1, that's negative 4 over 2. Negative 4 divided by 2 gives us negative 2. So here's our point, negative 1, negative 2. Remember, this is your x, this is your y. So we have negative 1 on our x. Here's 0, negative 1. And negative 2 for our y. So negative 1, 1, 2. To the left 1, down 2. So here's our midpoint right there. Alright, just a real quick video on this midpoint formula. I just want to thank you for watching. If you like this video, hit the like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more videos. Thank you.